Welcome to the webinar. You have entered as an attendee in listen-only mode.
In the C software, then the preprocessor will raise an error. Then the preprocessor will raise an error. Right, sir? When it is a case, no, if the provided header files do not exist in the C software, then the preprocessor will raise an error. In the case, if the provided header files exist in the C software, then the compiler, that means then the preprocessor will load the header files content to the memory. Understand it clearly? At what time preprocessor is loading that header file content to the memory? At the time of performing compilation or not? When we perform compilation only, preprocessor is loading that header file content to the memory or not? The note type of point here I'm telling to you, observe carefully. Note type of point is what there? Loading predefined library at the compilation. At the compilation is called static loading. At compilation is called as what there? Static loading. Previously we understood static memory allocation. If you load the memory, if you allocate the memory for the data at the compilation time, then that memory allocation is called as what? Static memory allocation. Similarly, if you load predefined library to the memory at a compilation time, then that loading is called as what there? Static loading. Right. Now this is exactly the meaning of like what there? Preprocessor activities internally. Come again, what exactly the points here I said to you? Try to recognize the diagram here, no? Try to understand the points here, what I am telling to you. First of all, what I have given, preprocessor existed as the first phase in the compilation. Then what is the role of the preprocessor? In C and C++, the complete predefined library was provided in the form of header files. Am I right or not? In the form of like what files here, no? Header files. Header files, okay, fine. Examples are like what there, yesterday.h, conio.h, math.h, and so on. But if we want to use the predefined library in C and C++ applications, then we have to include the respective header files in the C program. If we want to include the respective header file into the C program, we have to use #include statement. All right, examples are given, #include yesterday.h, #include conio.h, and #include math.h, and so on. But the point is what? When we compile a C file, the preprocessor will perform the following actions. What actions that preprocessor is able to perform there? Preprocessor will recognize all the #include statements, and it will take all the provided header files names from the #include statements. Preprocessor will search for the provided header files in C software. If the provided header files do not exist in the C software, then the preprocessor will raise an error. If the provided header files exist in the C software, then the preprocessor will load the header files content to the memory. Immediately I given a note. What is that note I have given there? Loading a predefined library at the compilation is called what there? Static loading. What or not? By this we are getting a conclusion. What is the conclusion here we are getting there from this particular point? No, overall, what is the role of the preprocessor? The main errors may be in C and C++, in both the programming languages. In C and C++, preprocessor is required. Preprocessor is required. Why? Because preprocessor is required in order to recognize the header files, and in order to load the header files content to the memory. That's it. Tell me, sir, what is the purpose of this one? Preprocessor is required to recognize the header files from the hash include statements, and in order to load the header files content to the memory. Because of that reason, what is required here? No, preprocessor is required. Guys, all of you are following up, you know. Tell me, what is the point here I'm trying to discuss with you? What is actually the topic here we are discussing there? Differences between Java and others. In the differences between Java and others, first point is completed. First difference we already completed. What was the first point I completed there? C and C++ are what? Static programming languages, but Java is what? Dynamic programming language. That point is already completed. Second point I started. What was the second point here I given there? Come on, what is the second point here I given there? Preprocessor is required in C and C++, but preprocessor is not required in Java. Then first of all, I given information to you. What is the location of the preprocessor? What is the location of the preprocessor here from this diagram? The preprocessor is available in the compilation project. In this compilation process, the very first phase is what there? Preprocessor only. Got or not? Okay, fine. Then what is the need of this preprocessor? If you convert this point here, the need of the preprocessor is what? If you want to say the requirement of the preprocessor, we need to start from predefined library. In C and C++ software, the complete predefined library was provided in the form of header files. Examples for header files are given: stdio.h, conio.h, math.h, and so on. If you want to use this predefined library in the C and C++ applications, first we have to include header files to the C and C++ applications. To include header files in C and C++ programs, we have to use hash include statement. Where hash include stdio.h, hash include conio.h, hash include math.h. When we compile a C file, the preprocessor will perform the following actions. What actions that preprocessor is able to perform? The preprocessor will recognize all the hash include statements, and it will take all the provided header files names from the hash include statements. Preprocessor will search for the header files in the C software. If the provided header files do not exist in the C software, then preprocessor will raise an error. If the provided header files exist in the C software, then the preprocessor will load the header files content to the memory. Notice what they're loading a predefined library at the compilation time. Compilation is called what? Static loading. In C and C++, preprocessor is required in order to recognize the header files from the hash include statements. Hash include statements, and in order to load the header files content to the memory. Right, sir? Now, I'm telling to you, observe carefully. C is following which type of loading? Static loading. Header files are, that means hash include statements are supporting which type of loading? Static loading. Remember this point here. In the future, I will ask this particular point to you clearly. Okay, fine. Why preprocessor is utilized inside the C and C++ that we understood clearly. But why it is not existed in Java? Why preprocessor is not existed in Java? That point here we have to understand clearly. Sir, shall we go for this point here? Why preprocessor is not required inside the Java? That point here we have to understand. Okay, fine. Now let us understand this point clearly. Observe carefully. Now the point is what? In Java, observe carefully, all of you know. In Java, the complete predefined library was provided. In Java, the complete predefined library was provided in the form of classes and interfaces in the packages. I'm talking about the point now. Why preprocessor is not required inside the Java. That's the point I've given there. In Java, the complete predefined library was provided in the form of classes and interfaces in the packages. Clear? Examples for the packages. Java.io, Java.util, Java.env, SQL, and so on and so on and so on. So many packages are available in Java. Come again, what I said to you. In the case of Java, the total predefined library was provided in the form of what there? Classes and interfaces in what there? Packages. Examples for packages here are given: java.io, java.util, java.sql. Clear? Next one is, observe carefully after this. Everybody understand this, no? If you want to use predefined library in the Java applications, if we want to use predefined library in the Java applications, then we have to import the packages. We have to import what their packages in Java applications. To import any package in the Java application, then we have to use import statements. Then we have to use what there? Import statements. If we want to use a predefined library in the Java applications, then we have to import the packages. To import any package in the Java application, then we have to use what statements here? Import statement. Examples here I'm telling to you, observe carefully. Import java.io.star. Import java.util.star. Import java.sql.star. Package name is what? Java.io. But what is this star actually? Inside the package, number of classes and interfaces are available. For your kind information, package is the collection of classes and interfaces. Package is what there? Collection of classes and interfaces. A single package can have more than one class and more than one interface. My thing is what? My interest is what there? I want to import all classes and interfaces of the specified package. I want to get all the classes and interfaces from the specified package. Java.io.star, java.util.star, java.sql.star. Everybody understand it clearly? This is okay, fine. This is completed. After completion of this, after understanding this import statement, that's okay, fine. Then what next one here I'm telling to you? If we compile a Java file, that contains import statements, that contains what there? Import statements, then the compiler will perform the following actions. What compiler will do? If we compile these instructions, import java.io.star, import java.util.star, and import java.sql.star. If we compile this, what compiler will do? What is the action of this compiler? What compiler is able to provide? Understand it clearly. Point number one. Compiler will recognize all the package names. Compiler will recognize all the import statements, and the compiler will take the provided package names from the import statements. First, compiler will recognize all the import statements. Then it will identify it will take the package names which we provided along with the import statements. Then what next one here? The compiler will search for the provided packages in the Java software. That's it. Compiler will search for the provided packages in the Java software. Here two cases are available. If the provided packages are not existed in the Java software, then the compiler will raise an error. Observe carefully. If the provided packages does not exist in the Java software, then the compiler will raise an error. Like what error it able to raise? No, even that error message also I am providing to you. Observe carefully. Package XXX does not exist. Exactly this message here we are able to get when the package does not exist in the Java software. If the specified package name is not available in the Java software, definitely Java compiler will raise an error. What error it is able to raise there? Package XX does not exist. What is this XXX? Actually java.io, java.util or java.sql, any package. Right. Next one is after that. Point number 4. All of you observe carefully. If the provided packages exist in the Java software, then the compiler will not raise any error. Please read this error, read the statement here. If the provided packages exist in the Java software, then the compiler will not raise any error. And at the same time, the compiler will not load any package content to the memory. Is it? All of you get my point or not? Come again. What exactly the points I said to you about this Java? My question is what? Why preprocessor is not required in Java? That's my question. There, what's the answer here we are providing there? Understand it? No. If we want to use, that means in Java, the complete predefined library was provided in the form of classes and interfaces in the packages. Can you tell me what are the various examples for packages? No. Java.io, java.util, java.sql, and so on. Right or not? If you want to use a predefined library in the Java applications, then we have to use import, then we have to import the packages. Then we have to import the packages. To import any package in Java application, then we have to use, to import any package in the Java application, we have to use import statements. Import java.io.star, import java.util.star, import java.sql.star, where star is representing what? All classes and interfaces from the packages. Yes, sir. All of you are following or not? All right. Next one is, if we compile a Java file that contains import statements, then the compiler will perform the following actions. What actions the compiler is able to perform there? Compiler will recognize all the import statements, and the compiler will take the provided package names from the import statements. The compiler will search for the provided packages in the Java software. If the provided packages does not exist in the Java software, then the compiler will raise an error like package XXX does not exist. Next one is what? If the provided packages exist in the Java software, then the compiler will not raise any error. Not only avoiding that error, at the same time, compiler will not load any package content to the memory. If the compiler is not loading any package content to the memory, then who will load that package content to the memory? If the compiler is not loading any package content to the memory, then who is loading that package content to the memory? All right, if we come for these points, I'm giving clarity, try to understand it clearly. When we execute Java application by using JVM, when we execute Java application by using what? JVM. What is this JVM? Java Virtual Machine. In which way C programs are executed by C engine? In which way C++ programs are executed by C++ engine? In which way Python programs are executed by Python engine? In the same way, there is an engine to execute Java programs. The name of that engine is what? Java engine. The same Java engine, in other words, we may call it as what there? JVM. What is that? No? JVM. What is the meaning of the JVM? Java Virtual Mission. JVM is what there? Java Virtual Mission. Understand it clearly. Alright, sir. When we execute Java applications by using JVM, or else maybe when JVM encounters, when JVM encounters any predefined class or predefined interface in the Java application, then the JVM will load the required classes and interfaces from the packages to the memory. That's it. When predefined library will be loaded into the memory in Java applications, no, at a compilation time or at runtime. Come on, guys, at a compilation time or at runtime. When we execute a Java application, when we execute Java applications by using JVM, when JVM encounters any predefined class or predefined interface in Java applications, then the JVM will load the required classes and interfaces from the packages to the memory. A note type of point here I'm telling there, observe carefully. Loading predefined library to the memory, at a runtime of our application, runtime of the application is called dynamic loading. If the library is loaded at the compilation time, then that loading is called as what? Static loading. If the predefined library is loaded at a runtime, not at compilation time, then the type of loading is called as what there? Dynamic loading. Loading a predefined library to the memory at runtime of the Java application is called dynamic loading. Understand my point clearly? All right. Now tell me here. Here the point here I'm telling to you. Observe carefully. I want to go for the conclusion. What is that conclusion here? Preprocessor does not require in Java. Why? Because Java does not have hash include statements. Hash include statements and header files. Java doesn't have hash include statements and header files, but alternatively, Java has import statements, comma, packages, import statements and packages. Alternatively, Java has import statements and packages. Got it or not? So, because of that reason, Java does not include what their preprocessor as part of its compilation. Preprocessor does not require in Java. Why? Because Java does not have hash include statements and header files. Alternatively, Java has import statements and packages. So, because of that reason, Java doesn't require what their preprocessor. Java does not require what their preprocessor. Everybody understand this point clearly? Now, this is a diagram here. I need to provide where not after the Java. Before Java only here we have to provide. Now, okay, fine. Now observe carefully. The same diagram I want to represent with respect to the Java. Same diagram I want to review with respect to the Java. What changes here we required? No. In place of .c, what file here I need to create, sir? Now tell me. .java. Now that file is what there? Java file. That file is like what there? Java file. Next one is what? After this. Please remember this. In the case of C and C++, after compilation of the C program, what files here we are getting there? .exe files. Either directly or indirectly we are getting what there? .exe files. But remember it, in the case of Java, if we compile any Java file, there we are able to get .class files. There we are able to get what there? .class files. Understand it clearly? Next one is after that. When we execute this dot class file here, we are able to get output. So Java file we compile, dot class file we are getting, and then we are getting output. But is there any chance of having this preprocessor inside the Java file? Inside the Java process, no, that is not available. The total preprocessor we can remove. There are only three components are available: compiler, assembler, loader, link editor. That's it. Now, this is a diagram with respect to what there Java. With respect to the Java, this diagram here we have to provide. As it is available, we can understand clearly. Then after this, I have an important interview question, guys. We have to answer for it now. I have an important interview question. We have to answer for it. What question here I'm asking to you? Observe carefully. What are the differences between hash include statement and import statement? What are the differences between hash include statement and import statement? Yes, at a fresher level, you may get this question. There is a chance of getting this question at a fresher level. There we have to identify it. We need to answer for this question. What are the differences between hash include statement and import statement? Well, let us understand the first one here. In which programming languages hash include statement is available, and in which programming languages import statements are available? Hash include statements exist in C and C++, whereas import statements exist in Java. Point number one. Point number two, what libraries are loaded by the preprocessor? That means what libraries are included by the hash include statement and what libraries are included by the import statements? No. Hash include statement is able to include the predefined library available in the form of header files. Hash include statement is able to include the predefined library available in the form of header files. I got my point or not? Next one is import statement is available. Import statement is able to include the predefined library available in the form of classes and interfaces in the packages. So what import statement is including and what package, that means what hash include statements are including, that points here we are giving clearly. Next one is, who are evaluating hash include statements and who are evaluating import statements? Now tell me, you only tell me who are evaluating hash include statements and who are evaluating import statements. No, hash include statements are evaluated by the preprocessor. Hash include statements are evaluated by the preprocessor. Next one is import statements. Import statements are evaluated by the compiler and JVM. Both Java compiler and JVM. Hash include statements are evaluated by the preprocessor. Only preprocessor can evaluate hash include statements. But import statements are evaluated by whom? Compiler and JVM. Got it or not? Next one is about this static loading and dynamic loading. Which one is supporting static loading and which one is supporting dynamic loading? If you observe this point here, hash include statements supports Now, what it is supporting there? Now tell me, hash include statements supports static loading. Am I right or not? In C and C++, what loading is available? Static loading is available. Hash include statement supports what there? Supports what there? Hash include statements. Hash include statements support static loading. Whereas import statements support dynamic loading. Import statements support dynamic loading. Now fifth one. Understand it clearly. I'll have you know. Now I'm asking one question to you. As you know already a little bit about C and C++. Now let us understand the point here. Can I write the statement like this? Hash include yesterday what dot h comma conio.h comma math.h. Can I write like this? Is it possible to write this hash include statement in C and C++? Is it possible to write like this? That means, what is my question actually? Is it possible to include more than one header file by using single hash include statement? No, this is wrong. By using single hash include statement, we are able to include a single header file. Hash include conio.h, hash include math.h. By using single hash include statement, we are able to include only one header file. We are unable to include what there? More than one header file. Got or not? But in Java, by using single import statement, we can include more than one class or interface of the same package by using star notation. More than one class or more than one interface I want to import into the present Java file by using single import statement. By using what notation here? No, by using what? Star notation. By using what there? Star notation. Get my point or not? So the point is what? What is the next point here I'm telling to you? Observe carefully. Point number 5. In C and C++ applications, by using single hash include statement, by using single hash include statements, we are able to include only one header file. Only one header file. If you want to include more than one header file, then we have to. If you want to include more than one header file, then we have to use multiple hash include statements. Multiple hash include statements. Observe carefully. This is wrong. Now, examples here I'm telling to you. This we can use an example like this. All right, then what next one? After this. This is in the case of C and C++. But what is there inside the Java? What you are getting inside the Java? Understand it clearly. In Java applications, by using single import statement, we are able to include more than one class, or more than one interface, right, sir, from the same package. In Java applications, by using a single import statement, we are able to include more than one class or more than one interface of the same package. Now, okay, I want to give an example. Try to understand this example. Okay. Import java.io.star. By using star notation, we can get more than one class, more than one interface of the same package. The package name is what there? Java.io. The package name is what there? Java.io. Yes, sir. All of you are getting it or not? This is overall information related to like what there, the differences between like what there, hash include statement and import statement. The difference between hash include statement and import statements. Now tell me, sir, what exactly the differences here we provided here? What are the differences between hash include statement and import statement? No, what differences are available here? Now tell me. Hash include statements exist in C and C++, whereas import statements exist in what there? Java. Next one is what? Hash include statement is able to include the predefined library available in the form of header files. Import statements is able to include the predefined library available in the form of classes and interfaces in the packages. Hash include statements are evaluated by the preprocessor. Import statements are evaluated by the Java compiler and JVM. Hash include statement supports static loading, whereas import statement supports what their dynamic loading. In C and C++ applications, by using single hash include statement, we are able to include only one header file. If you want to include more than one header file, then we have to use what? Multiple hash include statements. Examples here are given: hash include yesterday.h, hash include conio.h, and hash include what there? Math.h. Next one is in Java applications, by using a single import statement, we are able to include more than one class or more than one interface from the same package. So what's that example here we are providing there? Import java.io.star. If you're getting it or not. So this is the totally that second difference in between Java and others. So got it or not? Fine. So both the diagrams are given. This is like what the C and C++ diagram. Similarly, this is what diagram here, no? Java related diagram. That interview question is important at a fresher level. There is a chance to get this type of question from the fresher here, no? Right. Third difference here, if you understand it clearly. This also be another important difference here we have to understand. C and C++ are platform dependent programming languages. C and C++ are what they're platform dependent programming languages. But Java is a platform independent programming language. Java is what their platform independent programming language. Come again, what's the point here I said to you? C and C++ are what? Platform dependent programming languages, but Java is what? Platform independent programming language. Yeah. Before going to understand C, C++ and Java, platform dependent or platform independent, before understanding all these points, first we have to understand what is platform dependent programming language and what is platform independent programming language. First we have to understand this point. After that we will understand how C and C++ are platform dependent and how Java is a platform independent. Later on we are going to understand it. But first of all we have to understand what is platform dependent and what is platform independent programming language. Observe carefully, a simple definition here I'm telling to you. First of all, confirm to me, if I write a program, first I have to perform compilation. After that I have to execute the program, then only I'm able to get output. Am I right or not? Two phases here we have to perform. What are the two phases now? Compilation, execution. Then we have to get what their output. Am I right or not? Now listen carefully. If any programming language allows its applications to perform compilation and execution in the same operating system, if any programming language allows its applications to perform compilation and execution on the same operating system, not on two different operating systems, then that programming language is called platform dependent programming language. Yeah, this step is important. This point is important. Of course, this is one of the discussion which is going on in outside. Everybody they are thinking about it. Simply people are saying definitions only for platform dependent, platform independent. But how they are platform dependent, how they are platform independent, people are not aware about it. So here we have to understand the points here. Now come for the point here. If any programming language allows its applications to perform both the compilation and execution on the same operating system, not on two different operating systems, on the same operating system, then the programming language is platform dependent programming language. Examples for platform dependent programming languages are C and C++. Examples for platform dependent programming languages are what there? C and C++. Remember it. Then what is platform independent programming language? What is the meaning of this platform independent programming language? If any programming language allows its applications to perform, compilation is on one operating system, execution is on another operating system. Come again. If any programming language allows its applications to perform, compilation is on one operating system and execution is on another operating system, then that programming language is called a platform independent programming language. Simple, very simple. Both compilation and execution on the same operating system, platform dependent. Compilation is on one operating system and execution is on what there? Another operating system. Then that is what there? Platform independent programming language. What are the examples for platform independent programming languages? No, number of examples are available. Java is the best example. Python is the best example. C#.NET is the best example. All these are like what they're platform independent programming languages only. Yes, sir, got it or not? All of you get my point or not? But here the question is, how C and C++ are platform dependent? How Java is a platform independent? How can we specify C and C++ are platform dependent, and how can we specify Java is a platform independent? What are the proofs for it internally? That we have to understand clearly. First of all, let me go for the definitions. No, after that we are going to understand that internal content clearly. Okay, observe carefully. First of all, platform dependent programming languages definition I am giving there. If any programming language allows its applications to perform the compilation and execution on the same operating system, then that programming language is called a platform dependent programming language. If any programming language allows its applications to perform the compilation and execution on the same operating system, then that programming language is called a platform dependent programming language. Examples here I'm telling to you: C and C++. Next one is, what is platform independent programming language? That one also I want to give. After that, I'll go for that internal content. Understand it clearly. If any programming language allows its applications to perform compilation is on one operating system and the execution is on the another operating system, then that programming language is called a platform independent programming language. That programming language is called as what there? Platform independent programming language. Examples for this platform independent programming languages are what there? Java. Java is the best example for what there? Platform independent programming languages. Right, sir? Nothing so are given only definitions, no. But if I start that why C and C++ are platform dependent, what are the internal reasons? No, it may take some time here. I need to prepare some diagram. There I have to give what there some content there, right? So I want to discuss about this content tomorrow. Why? Because at least I required minimum half an hour to 40 minutes to complete the simple statement. Why C and C++ are platform dependent? That internal explanation I need to provide there. So the topic I'll discuss with you on tomorrow. It may take some time. Then I'll discuss about the content tomorrow. Tomorrow's topic, I will finish this entire content here. Platform dependent and platform independent. Then after that, I will talk about the pointers concept in C, C++, which is available in C, C++, and which are not available inside the Java. That points we are going to understand clearly. All of you are getting it or not? Okay. That's all for today. I'll meet you tomorrow. Tomorrow, see the remaining content. Thank you.